Hi, good morning. Today is November 3rd, 2025, and it is 9:31 a.m. U.S. Central Time. My name is Rinaldo J. Aguiar Marcano, and I'm recording this video from my home at the 26714 Valleyside Drive, Katy, Texas 77494. So this morning, um, I want to give a quick update. I mean, it's not update, it's really, how do I say this? I want to show the results of an experiment I ran between last night and this morning. So I have to give you a little bit of context um, about the experiment and how I set it up, so you understand, right? Um, and I should have prepared this, but this happened just a couple of hours ago, so I didn't have much time. But let me open this, and then let me go to. I'm just looking at something here. Just one second. Okay. Okay. So let me give you the backstory first. Okay. So what happened was yesterday, I created a demo in which I went over the sequence of events that led to the black Tesla transmitting infrared light to the house of uh, what's his name? Um, Let me look it up because I don't want to give you the wrong name. I think it's Joel Great. I think. Let me see. Yes, Joel Great. Grade, and he's the chief financial officer of Baxter International. And he has a house in front of my house, which apparently he sold it, like coincidentally, right? Like 2 days ago. These people, well, anyhow. So what happened was, right? I was preparing to give that demo, and I usually, when I give these demos, I write in a piece of paper what I'm going to talk about, but I don't put it anywhere electronically because I know they would get it, right? And then they would know what I'm going to talk about, and they could take actions either before or after, right? So I don't want to give them any advantage in terms of time because 90% of the things that they do are based on getting advantage in time so they can position themselves ahead of you and harm you in some way or another, right? So I usually write these things in a piece of paper and then I deliver them verbally and in the recording, and after they're out there, there's nothing they can do. But so yesterday I ran an experiment, which was that I created a meeting invite, and I invite authorities when they eventually see all this, the spectacle that they're putting up, to check the meeting invite of yesterday. And in fact, I'm going to show you in a minute the meeting invite, right? In fact, I created 3 meeting invites, and this is kind of where the experiment started, right? So I thought, well, I'm going to create a meeting invite. I'm going to put the talking points in there so they see them, right? I know they're going to see them because they have the tab and my Google account under surveillance, right? The Xfinity tab in front of the Chinese safe house next to me at Lake Pond Estates. And also they have my Google account under surveillance, right? So I knew they were going to see the talking points. And my idea with that was to see what came out from the Venezuelan informant channel, right? So I put this information on the invite, and I just immediately started using what I consider is not the most secure channel, but it's one of the most secure channels I have, which is the clone plus relay technique, right? Um, that I have configured in a specific way at Lake Pond Estates. So I started running on the backyard, right, to communicate with with the with the Venezuelan informant. And um, after I put that, so the sequence of events is I put the talking points in the Google account, in the Google Calendar, and I waited a little bit, and then I started communicating with the informant, right? And my goal was to see what was the reaction of the network, right? And if authorities eventually investigate this, you will see that I started, initially, I was going to give the demo at 6 p.m. That was my first, I set all this up like at 4 p.m., 4:15. And my goal was to start the meeting at 6 p.m. But I ended up starting it at 8:38, I think, because had to keep moving it because I was receiving important information, right? I mean, the reaction of the network was real time, right? So anyhow, uh, during this window, this short window of time, I received an invitation from my former partner to go today to the preschool, the British preschool, to see a Halloween parade where Marcelo is going to be participating for 5 minutes, right? The thing sounded strange to me because, she never invites me to these things, and I have to always be begging her to let me see the child, right? The child is a weapon. So, and this came proactively from her, from out of nowhere, right? And I already knew at that point, right? So the informant had already told me that the network had decided to trigger something they had been working on, and this is already documented in the books, right? The idea is that they're going to claim that I have an inappropriate interest in children, right? They want to make that claim to then have me arrested by the police, right? By the Fulshire police or the Fort Bend police, I don't know. So that's the plan, right? That's what they're planning. So anyhow, I was, of course, right? I think that's something it's just desperation, right? It's what it shows. But I was talking to the informant, and he proposed, well, why don't we do something here, right? I mean, to see what is that they're going to do. I said, well, what are you thinking, right? And we came to the agreement that I would go to an area controlled by the network to see what they do, right? So this morning, as I left Lake Point State, I went directly to a Kroger store that I've never gone to before. Like, I've never had entered that store, but I know it's heavily under the control because it's next to the Sharky's haircut place where they, at one point, harmed Marcelo when I published something about Wilmer Ruperti on the website, right? The next day, they took Marcelo to that place to cut his hair, and he was severely sick afterwards. Like, and I created a demo about this, a video about this, and I explained the whole situation in detail, right? But so I'm not going to do that here. But anyhow, I went to the Kroger store, right? And like, authorities will see that I never go to a Kroger store. And I mean, over the last 2 years or year and a half, the last year, I haven't gone to a Kroger store except once. And that is because there's been a series of serious incidents targeting me at those Kroger stores. So I avoid them, right? Because I know they're heavily under the control. But for this experiment, I went because I wanted to give them the comfort of, thinking that they had the advantage, right? They didn't have the advantage because I had the information since yesterday, right? So this is what I did. Inside of that Kroger store, and I'm saying this because authorities can check the footage of that Kroger store and the Starbucks, right? There is a Starbucks store inside of the Kroger. I went there, I ordered a coffee and 2 croissants. And I sat down in one of the tables quietly, eating my 2 croissants and my coffee, right? I wasn't talking to anybody. The store was empty, right? Immediately, a woman came with a child put on a cart, like the child was inside of a cart, right? And she positioned the child in front of my face. Like, I was looking in a given direction, eating my croissants and drinking my coffee, right? Minding my own business. And she took the child and put him exactly in front of me. And then she positioned herself outside of the frame. I say the frame because there was a picture taken, right? So she got away from the frame, but she left the child straight in front of me. Like, it was impossible for me to not look at the child. I mean, the child she put him on my face, right? And then a man who looked Venezuelan, dressed as if he was an office worker. I mean, he was, had a pullover and khaki pants, and, like, his costume was that he was an office worker. And he came holding a phone, and he positioned the phone and pointed it at me in a way that I imagine he took a picture. I didn't see the picture, but, like, the phone was positioned in such a strategic manner that if he had taken a picture, the picture would be me looking straight at the child and the child being alone in that cart, right? I mean, I imagine that it's to paint me as a predator, right? And remember, my former partner invited me today to an event where there's going to be a parade full of children, right? So, you know, the play is clear, right? What they want to do is to create some sort of incident at the British press school, where, by the way, already, and this is already written in the books that are printed and available in Amazon, there was already an incident at this school where the curriculum coordinator got me inside of the principal office and started telling me that parents were complaining about the cameras that are mounted on the Call Mobile, and that they had concerns that I was recording their children, right? I asked her, but what videos specifically are you talking about? Because I'm not aware of any videos. And she couldn't tell me which videos she was referring to. I asked her which parents she was referring to, and she couldn't tell me who were the parents. So she basically made a vague claim without anything to back it up, right? But they already created that pretext months ago, right? And now this morning, sorry, the video is kind of getting laggy. 1 second. Just 1 second, okay? Hello. Yes, so I'm going to turn off the video to make sure that it gets recorded correctly. So, as I was saying, yeah, so they had already created that pretext, right? In that conversation with the curriculum coordinator, making those vague claims that are not actionable. And my former partner yesterday invited me out of nowhere to this parade, and I execute what I discussed with the Venezuelan informant. I go to this Kroger store, I sit in that table, and within 1 minute, this woman with this child and the Venezuelan agent appear and do this thing where they take a photo of me, with the child positioned in front of me, the child being alone in a car, right? So I think it shows, right, the sign of it's a sign. It's a clear. It's not a sign. It's a proof of desperation. Really. But the most important thing, I think, is that it it shows how compromised the Venezuelan team is. That I knew about this even last time, right? And I deliberately went to this store this morning to test if this was true, right? And it is true. Like, that seems to be what they're planning. And the other conclusion that I can drive from this is that they don't have any other plans. Like, they're falling back to something that already failed like a month ago, right? Because I published it in the books preemptively. So they're falling back to things that have already failed, right? So it feels like they're running in a circle of desperation, really. They don't have anything else that they can do, so they're circling back to things that already failed to see if they can pull them off. So I just wanted to put this out there preemptively, right? In case they try this, there's evidence that that this is what they did. So I'm going to tell you exactly where these incidents happened. So authorities could potentially, right, if they investigate these things. So this happened at the Kroger store that it's located here on Kingsland Boulevard, uh, on this shopping mall. Oh, sorry. 1 second. Yes. Mhm. No, it's not Kingsland. It's Let me see if I can find it. It's in this one. I thought it was Kingsland, but maybe I was wrong about the street name. Let's see. Bay Hill. So it's on Bay Hill Boulevard, right? So the Sharkies, this is where they once harmed my son. And this is documented in the books. And I recorded a video testimony about this. So next to it is this program, right? And the GPS location where that Starbucks would be, I would put more or less latitude 29, 475, 826, longitude minus 95, 77, 818. One of those, 360 degree scanners, right? This is so hot. There's three of them right in front of where I was sitting, right? So all these spectacles should be viewable from those cameras. So it should be, trivial to verify that, the results that I'm describing, of the observations that I'm describing of this experiment, are exactly in the way I'm describing. Let me stop sharing this. Yes, so I think all this is in response to sorry, the computer is really, really slow, and I'm afraid that the recording might stop. But I think all this is a clear response to the demo that I recorded yesterday, November 2nd, right, where I talked about the black Tesla transmitting infrared lights to the house of Joel Gray, who lives 300 feet away from Robert Mueller, who is a former director of the FBI. So I think this is a response. This setup that they're trying is a response to that video, right? To that demo. And the most interesting part is that they plan all this in between the time when I posted in my calendar what I was going to talk about and the time that I actually gave the demo, which was a window of like 2 hours, right? Also, let me show you my calendar, right? So you see the entries from yesterday. One second. Right, so this was on November 2nd. And you see how I have 3 different invites because I was, I was going to give the demo earlier, but I kept moving it because I was talking to the Venezuelan. Oh, sorry, it's not. The sharing didn't work. Let me see if I can do it again. No. Let me try again. Let me stop the video to see if that helps. Yeah, I see the calendar, right? So you see how I had different events and I kept moving it because I was talking to the form. And if you click on the last one, which is the one that really, I'm just mentioning this in case authorities review this and go into my account and see what I had in there, right? If you double click on that, you will see all the talking points that I put in there, right? And they are also in the other previous invites earlier, right? So the previous ones are the ones that they saw and that triggered them trying to execute this TTP today at the British preschool. And also, in the last one, which is the one that lasts 2 hours, there's a copy of the recording attached to it, right? So you can download the entire, in case they delete it from YouTube or something. You can get the full transcript from here. And sorry, the full video, right, of the demo, which is basically this demo is what they fear the most, right? Because it's direct. It talks about direct physical evidence that implicates all of them, right? In serious things. So that's why they are doing this desperate thing today, or they wanted to, right? So just for context, the account that contains all this information is this work account that I use to publish the videos, which is KOL mobile or mobile, MOBILE, and then followed by V as in Victor 6 at gmail.com, right? So this is the calendar that you need to look at to verify this information. Well, I'm going to stop this short demo here, and I'll see you on the next one.